Good morning. I call this meeting to order. Would you all please rise and state the pledge with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much. Roll call's done. All right, what's the wishes of the agenda? All right, so I got a motion to support of moving the agenda. Do we have any discussion? All right, seeing none. All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Sorry about that. Next thing we have is item 5, which is approval of the minutes from July the 8th. And I got a motion and a support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, we move on to our first limited public comment. If anybody has any comments pertaining to this. Hello, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, sir.
I'm kind of here to introduce myself, put a face to a letter that I put out to you yesterday about Fox Park Observatory. Kind of want to get it on the out that I'm going to be here to kind of really having some issues, so I want to get it out there. I know that there's, my letter that I gave to you is kind of a very brief synopsis, and I'm open to having public discussion with all of you as board members. And I will be kind of hanging around here if any of you have any questions, comments, if you had a chance to read the letter yourselves yet. I will be here, so at the end of the meeting, if you have any questions that you would like to present, I'm going to be free and open to take those questions. So with that, I will give my time back.
Letter.
Will be part of the communications to the full board.
Okay.
I believe it went to members of this committee and the work group, the Parks work group, but we'll make sure all board members see it with this month's.
Okay.
Yep.
Because most of the board members don't know what letter you're discussing, sir, so we
Yep.
okay.
It'll be Wednesday, our full board meeting this month is Wednesday, the 19th. So it'll be part of that packet under communications to the board.
So just let me understand. This gentleman sent a letter to the Parks Group, or sent a letter to you guys, and you put it in the Parks Group. The Parks Group's seen it, and now it's going in front of the full board.
No, we got the letter, I want to say yesterday, so it hasn't gone to the Parks work group. The topic being discussed has been discussed at the work group level.
Oh, okay, so
It just hasn't come as a recommendation from the work group to Public Works and Human Services.
the work group discussion is what encouraged this gentleman to write a letter.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
There's an aging piece of infrastructure at Fox Park that specifically this group uses. So I think the request is to help with infrastructure costs associated with that so they can continue to be a use. So we can either.
So the Parks Director, the piece of equipment, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but sure, yeah, we do pay him good money to be able to talk to it. So. Come on now.
Yeah, I'm sort of interested now. I mean, the piece of equipment, that's all I'd like to hear about right now.
Yeah, so the Fox Park that we got a report back, he determined that the beam is in need of replacement, and then the actual roof cannot be removed for public observing until that beam is replaced.
Okay. Okay. Well, that gives us a little more context. So
Yeah.
when we get to see the letter, you know, these board members will,
to see if we can expedite this kind of repair to get that observatory back up and functional for the rest of this year, at the very least. So anyway, that would be my suggestion at this point.
okay. Yes, Commissioner.
Is there a cost and time estimate that's established for the replacement of that beam?
So if you want, we could take it up under miscellaneous. We just got the engineering feedback. I think Chad initially was thinking, was it 30,000?
No, it was like 10 to 12.
10 to 12 total. I can also text Chad and ask him to be here by the time miscellaneous comes around.
Could you please?
Yep.
Could you please? And then we can have a further discussion in the miscellaneous.
Sounds good.
Okay. I think that'd be appropriate.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for bringing that up, sir. All right, does anybody else have any public comment? All right, seeing nobody in there. Knock yourself out, Chris.
As far as my planning, or my planning, my months, I hope to have that done next week. And Brandy was doing the electronic, hasn't been working on it while she's off with her surgery, so. I will see if we can expedite that as well. And I've reached out and I've had Tammy reach out to him and let him know that if you need something before we get it to you, just reach out and we'll get it to you. It's a lot. We've done done it for a lot of years, and it's a lot of information that we're trying to. Well, we can go to the fee study for the soil erosion. You guys got a copy of that last,
That's way at the end. under
oh, sorry.
Miscellaneous.
Was just reading down my,
I had communicated, with the controller's office about this yesterday, but in the Roxanne Township meeting on Monday, they were concerned because they hadn't received any communication back from you.
here to Brandy.
To you.
Okay. I don't remember getting one. I did reach out to Roxanne Township. I reached out to Mr.
I just
Mee.
want to make sure the loop is
Yep,
close.
nope,
Yep.
I understand.
They're waiting on it to do.
Yeah,
they're one of the
they're
townships
trying to
that's doing their
organize.
own, and
Yep,
the people that are helping. Email from
Tammy?
Miss Capetis.
yeah. I did speak on the phone and I know they're trying to get it, their system set up and organized, so.
Sure, yeah,
I
appreciate it.
told him, it was last week when we talked.
Who's covering the cost?
Of,
Labor, like, we limped it along, and it ended in 30 June. And we reassigned that worker, right? And now we're getting together historical data to give to the townships. So, who's gonna cover the labor costs of that worker doing?
Or said employee had to go out on leave, and it just happens. I mean, we have decades of documentation of projects and special use permits from around the county. So that will be coming out of my office consistently when Brandy returns. So when we had the discussion about transitioning over, we knew we would have a tail end on some of this stuff. We also anticipate after we give the records, locals may have specific questions, and so we still have to be a resource to the communities. So we just weren't able to get the whole records to them
Okay.
prior to that date.
But is that employee's time gonna be parsed to the construction code department?
So actually,
Because-
no,
because
even when we
Planning and
had
zoning
them-
doesn't exist anymore.
even when we had them combined, we actually, because of the statutory use of the construction code revenue, we had to half Brandy's position at 50% was general fund to planning and zoning, and then 50% was to construction code. Similarly, because Tammy was working in between the two, so in that role as the coordinator, 60% of her time was to construction code, 40% to planning and zoning. So it would be a general fund, and it will just come out of capacity in our office to
Okay.
manage it.
All right. Well, because I mean, that has an effect on his fund balance, right? You know,
If we're using, yeah.
if it came out of his funds, it would have an effect on his fund balance. Because that'd be a cost that you didn't plan to do.
right, and right now I have told Tammy and very honestly, she's going down in the basement into the vault when she has time. But I've told her to keep, when she's working on that, to keep her time separated. When she's working on boxing up the files for the conditional use permits, just so I have a record, you guys have a record, and how we work that out.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions about his report? Okay. Oh, yes, Mr. Hanson, or excuse me, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris, has Carmel Township made any movements towards planning and zoning?
No. In fact, I just talked to their township supervisor. I ran into him on a project the other day. And right now, they don't have any intentions of doing anything with planning and zoning. He did mention to me that they may put some things in their ordinance, but nothing is, I think they're just talking right now.
So what do the residents have to do that?
If they want to do a project in Carmel Township,
Yes,
construction project, they just have to submit their plans to my office. You know, they'll still need health department and soil erosion. And then out of my book, I have the authority to, if I feel like something's too close to a property line, we have the authority to request a survey to verify that it is on their property. But other than that, they can build it where they want.
okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on to your item B, which is reconstruction.
Yes. So in the transition of planning and zoning going away and going back to the townships and losing an employee, a staff member, I've realized that I need some structure in my office, some more structure. So I'm asking to create a office manager position and a lead building inspector position, and to change my permit specialist to a permit coordinator. And that is gonna help structure my office. As most of you know, I'm out of the office during the day quite a bit. There are a day or two a week that I try to stay in the office. That doesn't always work. So this is gonna help my office. When the people that are in there are gone, there'll be structure for the next group of people. It also is gonna set parameters for what you have to have or to be in that position, and I'll use the lead building inspector as an example. Per the state of Michigan in the act, the county has to have a building official. I am the county's building official. I'm licensed by the state of Michigan, and I have my building official license. But if something were to happen to me, and I was out of the office for a long period of time or was off the face of the earth, the county needs a building official. So about 8 months ago, I had asked Chris if he would be interested in taking the test to get his building official license. He did that. He has it. He is the county's backup building official. So that's part of where this lead building inspector position come from. So if Chris leaves the county and we hire another person, I believe I put in there that within 12 months, they would be required to get their building official license. The other thing that Chris does a lot of, and the lead building inspector would be required to do, is builder complaints. He goes out and helps me with my enforcements, the complaints that we get all over the county of rental properties and rundown buildings and things like that. So we get so many of them that I need a second set of hands and eyes to help me through that process. Otherwise, I don't have the time to do all the other parts of my job. So Chris is really doing a great job with that. We do a lot of it together. We just went out last week for a builder complaint together. And a builder complaint is they're gonna send the paperwork into the state of Michigan, right? So the homeowner fills out their portion, the inspector fills out his portion, and then that goes to the state of Michigan, and then the state of Michigan will reach out, in this particular situation, to Chris and have those discussions. And then the state determines whether that builder complaint is gonna go through, and they're gonna. So that's really where this lead building inspector position comes from. The office manager position is one that I need and I depend on. And the employee that is now moved out of my office and on to better things did that for me. So now it's Tammy that I've asked to do that position for me and answer questions for contractors and send out emails and keep that line of communication open between the contractors and the homeowners. When I'm not able to, even when I'm out in the field, we'll have conversations, Tammy and I will, but she'll call me and say, hey, did you see this email? So that I know to look at it if it needs a quick response. and she's the one that organizes everything. She will set up our classes, our schooling, our education, when we have to pay bills and things, she does all that in New World for me. So that's really where this structure comes from. And like I said, it's gonna help us now, but it's gonna help the people that are in our positions in the future.
So excuse me. We have any questions? Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Chris, and thank you for your report.
Thank you.
I think, at least in my opinion, we're leaning towards giving you the soil erosion specialist, and I don't see any position on here for that. Would that work into your office plan easily, or would we have to re-coordinate a lot of things?
No, so if that's a decision that you guys make, I mean, if you make it today or tomorrow or next week, I guess would be the final decision. We have the verbiage set up that we could just implement that into these job descriptions before we send them out. I just didn't want to put them in there now because you guys haven't made your decision yet. But yeah, it would not take much to. That's kind of part of the reason that I've waited this long to come to you guys with this restructure, because I didn't know where that was at. And I kind of wanted to bring it all at once, but I also want to get moving forward with the.
And in your opinion, would that soil erosion specialist, that would be one individual or two part-time, or what do you envision?
So right now, my vision is that, right now, Tammy and Chris and I and Mark are all certified to do soil erosion sediment. So Chris and I and Mark would do the field work, Tammy would be able to do the office work. My vision was be that the permit coordinator would also get certified, so that if Tammy's out of the office, I have a person in the office to back that position up. But that is my vision. Right now, I think my office can handle it. I don't think I need to hire anybody, but until I get into it, I don't know for sure. As far as the field inspections. I'm confident, I'm 85% confident that the staff I have today can handle that, which right now I have 5, including myself, full-time employees, 1 contract employee, and a part-time, or 1 part-time employee, well, 2 part-time employees, but the end of August, one of those is gonna retire, and that's probably, that position, the mechanical inspector's probably gonna turn into a contract employee as well. Just because
So
I
you're,
can't,
you're confident you can handle not just the inspection, but also the enforcement aspect of it?
yes.
All right, and then, how are you coming on finding your combination inspector guy, the plumbing and electrical or whatever it was?
It was plumbing and mechanical. I'm not.
Okay,
The 2 gentlemen that had expressed interest, and I'll just be honest with you guys, that the first words out of their mouth was that it's not enough money to be dual licensed that the county can offer them at this time. So that's why my anticipation is that, I'm gonna have to hire a contract mechanical inspector like I did with the plumbing, because to just hire a mechanical inspector, I don't have enough for a full-time position. And it's just getting harder and harder and harder to get inspectors. I get emails weekly from the state of Michigan reaching out, looking for inspectors themselves. So something's gonna have to give on that before we can,
all right, thank you.
yes.
All right, Chris, so looking on here, this is this is not an addition of the office manager,
No.
right? Because the lead building inspector you already have.
Yes,
This is just a job title
yes,
move over.
correct. Yeah, I'm not adding any personnel to this that I don't already have.
Okay, okay. All right, and, yeah, so what's the board's wishes? Because we gotta,
It would be referring to Ways and Means, and then from there, refer to the consultant to evaluate any financials, then it'd come back to Ways.
yeah, I need somebody on the board to either make a motion or it dies, so. Okay, so I have I have the motion to move this. I have the motion to move this to Ways, and I have support. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Question for Chris. Are you able to stick around for this discussion on the observatory at Fox Park?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
It'll be right after soil erosion.
that's fine.
You know, you had Commissioner, you had an opportunity to ask him that before, I sent him away, right?
Well, yeah, but he was right there.
All right, moving on to 8. Community Development.
Yep, Ms. Miller is still out of the office on approved leave, so there is no formal report in your packet. There is a resolution in your packet. This is the grant formerly known as the MVAA CVSF grant. The DMVA has now taken over this grant at the state of Michigan. So it's the same one we've had for several years. The only difference now is the grant is substantially allocated to staffing. So we can no longer use it for emergent need things like the gas cards and grocery and things like that. It's strictly for staff.
Move the
So,
resolution.
thank you.
All right, so I got a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Commissioner.
So if this is more for staffing now, it's losing some of the supports that we were allowed to offer our veterans. So do we have another place to apply for a dollar amount to backfill some of those needs?
So if the board wanted to, they could take some of the money we're saving on staffing and allocate that. We can use the staffing money to pay all of our part-time service officer, Michelle, and then pay for a portion of Mr. Lewis's salary. So if the board wanted to take some of the money that we're saving on Mr. Lewis's salary and dedicate that to something for emergent, they could, but that's currently not in the budget to do it that way.
But we can make amendments and adjustments, correct?
If the board wishes to.
Okay. Because I think they're using some of their gas cards for medical appointments as well. You know what I mean, to go to Ann Arbor or Battle Creek or something.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a year because the grant we have now has only been for staff too. So we haven't offered any of the emergent services for the last year.
How much was it then that we don't have available for that pot of money for those services? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, we had $10,000 allocated for the Meijer cards for the groceries and whatnot. And then we also paid for some VA copays for their doctor's appointments, and we also paid for the dental clinic. So maybe another 5,000 for that, so maybe 15.
15, okay. I just want to throw in that I was at Grand Ledge Food Bank, just so you know, because you mentioned the groceries, that I have a spreadsheet in from the amount of usage in June of 2025 is listed on the spreadsheet, as well as the June 2026 usage. And there's a 37% increase already for the demand for emergency food. And we basically keep talking about 2027, but the director, Mary, said we're already seeing a big difference in change. So I just, it can't, it's because I'm with a nonprofit and we gave them $3,000. But I'm just saying, that's why I'm asking, about services and stuff for, every group of people.
They still can apply to the soldiers and sailors, which is another avenue through the county for emergent funding, and they still can apply to the Michigan Veterans Trust Fund for emergent funding as well.
Okay,
So that's what they've been doing over the last year.
well, that's what they've been doing? Okay, thank you.
We did have a fundraiser.
Oh, yep, yep. Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, they did have a fundraiser that raised, we don't have the firm numbers back on that yet, but I believe about $6,500. So, and that can be used for that purpose as well.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Christensen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Claudine, I do have a question on that, though. I really like what Commissioner Prowright was talking about. I think we need to, and I know we had to, as a county, make cuts, but I think our veterans are very important. And I'm concerned, like you said, we haven't had that service for the last year, the gas cards, the food enhancement, and I know there's food banks and such around that they can go to. But I think these are essential things that they need, so minus the 6,500 or whatever it is you think you brought in with the fundraiser, is there a way to compensate, like you said, to build some of that back in with, you know, the grant that you're getting if you were to use the money that we have allocated for staff, being that will cover it? Is there a way to put this on an agenda and try to make some arrangements for this? Change things?
So what you could do is move this motion and include with it a recommendation to Ways and Means to look for a way to restore that funding, I think is kind of what you're looking for. So refer it to Ways to make.
I mean, I don't want to have to take it out of our budget. Obviously, we don't have it. That's why it was cut to begin with. But I think if we're going to get a grant that's going to cover specifically staff, then what we were budgeting to pay staff, maybe we can.
Reinvest it.
Yeah, the grant's due the 21st, and to be honest, I haven't started working on it yet, so
No worries.
that's what I'm gonna work on this week and next week. So once I get with the accountant and the finance director and we start putting some numbers together, we'll have a better idea for how much savings we're gonna have for staff.
Okay. Great.
And
Thank you.
the other part is then,
Commissioner Toomey.
Okay, thank you. I just had a question. Out of the 15,000 that we previously had allocated, how much of that were we spending per year?
That's about how much we spent.
Okay, we spent the
Much more was allocated.
Okay.
I went with what I knew approximately what we had spent.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I mean, honestly, I would agree with Commissioner Pearl-Wright's and Commissioner Christensen's sentiments. I mean, I know there's some other programs that folks can apply to, but even, you know, with raising the 6,500, if we can get that up to like an even 10 or something, using the staff cost savings from the grant, I would support that if we want to add that to the resolution. And also just more broadly, because we've talked about some food bank stuff here. I've mentioned it before. I know a lot of the food banks around the community are really hurting for funding. So, you know, even if we want to broaden that out to just supporting the food banks with some kind of micro grant or something like that, I'd also be very, very supportive of that, because every food bank I go to, the usage by veterans and everybody else has just been going through the roof. So, thank you.
Commissioner Pearl-Wright.
no, that's what Commissioner Toomey said. I truly believe that our needs are going to go up. So, Claudine, when you mentioned the other two programs, I know I hear those words, but I don't know if our veteran director can let us know if those other programs are doing okay, backfilling, you know what I mean, using sailors and whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Sailors is a general fund appropriation, so we certainly can look those numbers up. The trust fund is through the state of Michigan, so I don't have the numbers on that, but I can see what we can get.
But you know what I'm saying? So last year, did it accommodate the needs is all I'm worried about. When we cut it out, I don't have a
We can
feel.
certainly see if their numbers went up.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just so I can be clear with this for Friday, was the budget built around receiving this, or is this going to actually be replacing funds that were already proposed to be budgeted? Do you understand my question?
Yeah, I do. Built around it. So this is a long-standing grant that
So we've been planning on, so it's not really
new money.
offsetting any money in the budget.
Changes in the respect, the money that we get allocated from the state changes. So we have budget around it, but last year, I believe our allocation was 65,000, and this year it's up to
Okay.
85,000.
Okay.
So the money we get from the state fluctuates, so we'll have to look at that. But there are certain rules with how much of it you can use, so we have to do all those calculations.
Understand. My second question is I don't see anywhere, what administrative fee have you calculated for this as a grant?
So we can't take an administrative fee per se off from it, but we can charge fees for the controller's office within the grant as staff time. So we can charge off, right now, what we do is we charge off like an hour a week of Melissa's time and an hour a week of my time to actually administer the grant. And that calculates out to more than the 15% per the county's
Understood.
policy.
Thank you.
And it usually depends on activity for the year, so some years it's a little less than 15 or 15, but
I understand. I just didn't see that in here. I appreciate it.
yeah.
So this is a little off topic. It's not off topic, but it is. I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Commissioner Toomey had said. When we were talking about the food banks, I understand that there's food banks the veterans can go to, the whole county can go to. There are people out there also that aren't veterans that are looking for food assistance. If they're looking and they have pets and their pets need food, we actually just started a pet bank this last Sunday. So if there's veterans or people within the county that need help with food, cats and dogs, we offer that assistance for free. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I'll make sure to let them know that so they can direct veterans.
Because a lot of veterans have service dogs, and if they're struggling, I don't want to see any pet go hungry. And Feeders out of Okemos has been wonderful. They filled a trailer for us full of food, so we're ready to help.
Yeah, I would say, so looking at this, you got 86,000 for staff expenses this year, and then as opposed to the 65 that we had appropriated in the past, it was appropriated differently within, the department because of what we were allowed to use it on. But overall, we're netting out an additional $21,000 in funding than what we had previously, correct?
So what I will add to that is, so the grant is all based on your budget from 2017 because that's when the act passed, the public act that we follow. And there's language in there that says we can only use a certain percentage difference between what we had in 2017 and to what we use now. So the 86,000 is available, but we have to do that calculation to make sure we're not a certain percentage over the 2017 funds. So we may not be able to use all of that 86. We have to go back and run all of the staff and those calculations to see where we land.
Okay, well, I would say that I'd offer an amendment to my motion if anybody would support it, that when Ways and Means, I'd like to send it to Ways and Means to look at, when we get those numbers, with the 6,500 estimated that we fundraised, using, if we can, if we do have an additional 21,000 in revenue from this grant over last year, getting another 3,500 to put into backfilling the emergent needs, getting that up to an even 10, and then any additional funding from the general fund to just support food banks more broadly, because a lot of the veterans are going to go to the food bank regardless. Instead of, people don't always know about the services that we have here. We have a lot of veterans that go to the food bank. So I'd offer that. I'd like Ways and Means to take a look at it.
All right, so I got a motion to support on amended motion. So is there any discussion on the amendment? All right, so all in favor of amending the motion, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we're going to vote on the original motion.
No, the amended motion.
Yeah, it's amended now, yes. Commissioner DeRosa?
Just out of curiosity, Claudia, what is our veterans population in Eaton County, do you know?
Last I knew it was right around 8,000. Then Commissioner, do you have something different?
It's about 7,500.
2,500. All right, thank you.
Has that changed over time, like
Yeah.
the last 5 years?
Death.
Yes.
Yeah, people die.
Oh, so it's gone down.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's been more deaths than, like the increase of veterans in the community has only raised it, and it still equals a negative number. Does anybody else have any further discussion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of moving this to Ways, signify with aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Thank you very much, Community Development. That moves us on to recycling, number 9.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just to start out, we do have one action item for a education grant with the Michigan Recycling Coalition, and I'll talk a little bit about that in our education part. But of note, we have our solid waste ordinance licensing and reporting. Currently, we have our reporting session is due for all the licensed haulers in the county, and we've received our reports from all but 3. Daggett Container Service, LeBron Trash Holding, and Liberty Environmental. We are in contact with 2 out of the 3. Typically, our department will work with the haulers on any reporting, any questions they have for about a month after the due date. And then after that, we do request that they have a public hearing in front of this board here. And so the department will continue to work on receiving reports from the haulers, and you'll be hearing from us next month how we do with that. So, and of course, LeBron Trash Hauling, is an annual issue with getting the paperwork done. So. And moving on to recycling events, we're right in the middle of event season. The department, we're very happy with how everything has been going. We just had Recycle Palooza on Saturday over at the Road Commission, and we want to thank the Road Commission for hosting our event. We had over 700 registrations, and the event went very smoothly. And we've been working to increase year over year our efficiencies at these events and improve our collections. And we haven't received the billing or the invoicing for our vendors, hazardous waste and electronic vendors. However, our hazardous waste vendor almost ran out of room. They brought a 53-foot semi-truck, and so we are impressed. So thank you, Eaton County, for coming out and properly disposing of your waste. And upcoming, we have our next month in Charlotte, September 19th. We have our scrap tire event, and the registrations are looking really good. Currently, we have over 120 registrations, which equals approximately 1,500 scrap tires. And so we're looking at, it's going to be a pretty successful event, and we're probably going to make another marketing push in the next couple of weeks to get those numbers up. And we're looking forward to that. And breaking out the tire events separately from hazardous waste and electronics has greatly facilitated making these events more efficient. So we're really happy with breaking out the separate tire events from our main events. And then with Sunfield Recycling Center of note, Emily Sinclair, she was our recycling assistant with the mobile recycling program. She got moved to the Sunfield Recycling Center operator. She just took a job with the Charlotte Public Works as a park ranger. It's a full-time position. Her dream is to be a park ranger, so we're very happy for her moving on. However, we are, again, down as staff, so we're currently looking at different options and restructuring some of our programs. Some of the turnover isn't favorable for many reasons I'm sure you're familiar with. So we are currently working internally and looking at working with the controller's office to see what we can do. Otherwise, our intention is to likely move Austin Wilson. We can move him to the Sunfield Recycling Center operator and look at posting the recycling trailer position again. Furthermore, at Sunfield, we do have new regulations that the department needs to be compliant with, and so we are currently working with Aaron Bickle in his office in Eagle to register and permit the operation of the Sunfield Recycling Center, and that is currently going very well. I was with Aaron yesterday, and things are looking good. Additionally, we are expanding our parks program for recycling. This month, I was out with Ethan Jacobs, the park director, and we have recycling bins at Fox Memorial Park and Lincoln Brick Park now. And we received our first delivery from the Parks Department with their recycling to Sunfield. And so we're happy with how the program is going. And the Eaton County residents who are using the program, they've been very good. So one of our biggest worries was contamination and sorting out trash and which causes staff time to be used to sort through all of it. And the residents here are doing a really great job. So we're really happy with how the program is going. The mobile recycling program of note for the commissioners is we finally closed that grant out. So we received that grant in 2023. We built and developed the program. And by closing out the grant, we're able to release another $3,250 in funding for the program. We met with Eagle this week or last week, and they are extremely happy with the program, the success with the report, and all of this works towards being more likely to receive future infrastructure grant funding. So the department, we're going to be exploring the infrastructure grants this year, see what our needs are, and we're likely to be top candidates for receiving funding through our programs. The mobile electronics program is still running. We will be in Eaton Rapids this Monday for people to pick up or to drop off their electronics recycling. And that grant is going very well, and I'm currently working with Steve Noble from Eagle to close that grant out and continue the program. Education, I have a composting class if you're interested in composting at the Delta Township District Library tomorrow at 6 p.m. So Thursday at 6 p.m. we'll be talking about composting. On Friday, there will be a class at CARA about the importance of conservation practices and native plants at one of the department's projects with the native plant garden over there. And our action item for today is we would like to apply for the Michigan Recycling Coalition's Community Education Subaward Grant. And that grant offers up to $7,500 for educational and marketing materials for local programs. It's written as a grant, but it's a subaward. And so the way it works is the department applies, we want marketing and education materials, and what we're looking to do is have a mailer go out, and we would like to increase participation in our programs and increase awareness. Facebook can only get you so far, the County Journal can really only get you so far, and so we've discussed doing direct mailers to people, especially in the northeast portion of the county. So we're looking at getting the usage of Sunfield Recycling Center up and some of our other programs in the area, for example, in Vermontville. And so we would like to send out a mailer to as many people in the townships from Grand Ledge to Sunfield down to Vermontville. And the subaward program, the department's not going to see any funding from that. It's all going to be run through the MRC, who has a grant from Eagle, and essentially what would it be is a donation to the department. So they'll say, here's $6,000 worth of value of mailers going out, and they would cover all those costs without the department incurring any costs for that. And so that's the Michigan Recycling Coalition Community Education Grant. And we'll wait to the end to discuss or vote. Yeah, okay. And finally, we have our materials management plan. We are working on our public engagement portion of the materials management plan. Our committee discussed last month our survey, and we have a public survey that is now available. It's posted on our website, on the county's website, and we're working with various other townships and organizations. For example, Delta Township, Eaton Rapids have shared it. And so the more information and the more data we get back from this survey, the better it'll form our materials management plan. And so We're currently on a campaign in the next month to get as many survey results as we can, and we'll be discussing them next month at the Materials Management Planning Committee to help inform our plans. Otherwise, this month, with our public engagement going on, we did not meet for the Materials Management Planning Committee, and we're just going to be working towards that public engagement portion of the plan. And that concludes my report.
Do you want us to move that resolution now, Jared?
Yep.
Please.
Okay, I move the grant application.
All right, I got a motion and support. Do I have any discussion on that?
I just wanted to, the places, so this mailer would go out to the area right around the Sunfield Recycling Center so that that can be more useful in taking more recycling, is that correct? Because Delta already has their own.
Correct, yeah, and so we would like to see usage in the area go up, and we found that a direct mailer would be appropriate to access more of the community out there that we're
Okay.
able to access right now.
Okay, good idea.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further discussion, all in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving on to number 10, Parks and Rec.
Good morning, Commissioners. So I will address the resolutions at the end, but for my report, Mid-State Recreation began construction on the new playground at Fox Memorial Park on July 27th. The play equipment has been fully installed, the shade structure is installed, the cement work is all complete. The only thing we're waiting on right now is the pour in place, so the rubberized surfacing that'll go underneath the playground, or play equipment, and then wood chips for the swing area. This past month, I had the opportunity to go around with PEA Group for the site visit for the Charlotte Southern Rail Line. Following the completion and ratification of our 5-year master plan, we'll be on track to submit for an out-of-cycle trust fund grant application. On August 4th, the DNR was out at Crandall Lake collecting limnology data. This is all in preparation for potential stocking efforts that would take place in spring of '27 or fall '27, depending on what the data says. So the goal would be to have either trout or walleye be stocked in the lake, but we can't have both just because of predation. So, Mass Brothers Hardwoods will be starting our strategic timber harvest, likely towards the end of August, beginning of September. This is all in an effort to maintain the ecological integrity of our parks. So back in '23, when we had the large storms that went through both of those parks, many of the trees were damaged, and while they're still standing and some of them are trying to bounce back, they're likely going to die. So by going in and removing these trees, the goal would be that we could plant more trees that we want to see in the park that would help the overall biodiversity of the park and make it a better place to recreate. Project agreements have been issued by the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund for our grant to acquire the 50 acres adjacent to Lincoln Brick Park. We're currently, well, per your approval, we'll be working on all the necessary steps to move that project forward. HRC has completed their 65% design for the road going in off of Flanders for Crandall. We have another meeting coming up here to review, I think, the 80% design, but everything is on track for that. And then after talking with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, it's come to my attention that they would now like to do a fall planting for the northwest corner of Crandall Park. This is because the initial herbicide treatments that they applied, given the herbicide that they used, there's a 90-day wait period for that to take effect and do the necessary work to make the site ready for seeding. But I've been assured that doing a dormant seating is going to give us the best chance for success for that restoration effort. And then the construction of our new playground at the south end of Lincoln Brick Park will be starting on August 17th. And that concludes my report.
Questions? Yes, Commissioner.
We took the play set down over to by the small pavilion by the fishing pier at Fox Park. Are we gonna put up a couple of swings? I don't remember the master plan. Are we gonna do anything over there?
In the master plan, we don't have a new playground going in over there. The goal is to have a walking path, a cement walking path around the pond. So that would kind of be what would be going.
Don't we rent out that pavilion?
We do rent out that pavilion, yes.
So we're expecting families at times too. I would think probably a couple of swings for the 4-year-olds might be appropriate.
Well,
They
that's
can
that's
see that
something,
big playground over there.
yeah.
But they're in the rented pavilion across the water.
I mean, that's something we can definitely revisit in future fiscal years, for sure.
Okay. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
4-year-olds don't forget.
No. We definitely need something for the 4-year-olds.
Thank you.
I would just add, I think Ethan maybe mentioned it last month, that we did not believe we were going to get that fisheries and wildlife grant for all of the fish habitat at Crandall. We did receive official notification yesterday that we were not awarded that grant.
That being said, we are in conversation, or I'm in conversation with the biologist that we work with through their fisheries division, and he's given us a lot of ideas on what we can do in the short term to improve that fishery, doing it in-house, so. Any other questions before I get to my resolutions?
No, just hang on. So we got item B, the resolution to approve the project agreement.
Yes, so the overall funding that we'd be receiving for this grant would be $220,200. Total cost is $297,600.
So this is the grant that we already received that you're aware of. For the state of Michigan purposes, we have to formally resolve to purchase the property via this agreement in this resolution. So that's what this is for, to allow the Parks Director to formally move forward with the acquisition, with the appraisal and all title work and all that is needed for the acquisition.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ethan, for your report. This grant, this will will cover the entire purchase of that property, including all the title, all that other stuff.
It's all written into the grant, yes.
All right. So there will be no general fund or millage money spent on this.
Other than the specified in-kind local match, which is a feature of all DNR trust fund grants.
Okay, so, and what's the match amount?
26%, 77,400.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it was right there in the packet. Okay. All right. Okay, so what's the wishes of the board?
I'd move this resolution.
Okay. All right. So I got a motion and support. Did you have a discussion?
Commissioner Reich.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right, is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor signify with aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. And then you have another resolution?
Yeah, resolution to adopt the Eaton County Parks and Recreation Master Plan for 2026 through 2030, per the edits that we have for row. So.
And just, you know, sometimes if we have the capacity, we'll go in and page number, and that's the last thing that we do. We didn't have it this time. So for those watching, the master plan starts on page 43, continues to page 240. So large packet, a bulk of it is this. So just for those trying to follow along at home.
Yeah, it's a big document, so.
There will be a public hearing on this at the board meeting next week. If anyone that's watching in the public would like to come and make a formal comment, there is an opportunity to do that at the beginning of the meeting for the public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we can't adopt this today, we can only forward it, correct?
It goes to the board for final approval to adopt.
In my understanding, it's not quite complete grammatically and other things, is that correct?
There's a couple edits that I have for Roe, and that is in the process of being sent over to them to make those edits, and then we'll be all set.
Okay,
Ethan's gone through it. There's nothing substantive that's changed, just grammar and spelling and whatnot, and those edits will be included in the board packet.
Correct.
well, I think we've got some things in here that haven't taken place yet for 2026. Like has the boardwalk been removed from community development?
Yes.
It's completely gone now?
Yes, we did all that in-house,
When did that occur?
back in February.
Because I was back down there about a month ago and the boardwalk was still across the pond.
There's not a boardwalk across.
Did we remove the whole boardwalk, Ethan, or have we just removed the portions that are going to be removed?
We removed all
there's
the
some
portions that are
remaining.
going to be removed.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do with the existing boardwalk across that pond then?
Are you referring to the western end?
Well, whatever I saw that's still out over the water, that's what I'm referring to.
That would likely be removed at a later date when we could actually get equipment out there, because it's very wet. We can't remove we can't get our equipment out there until the ground's frozen. But everything that was planned on being removed this fiscal year is removed.
Okay, I guess this wording in this is somewhat incorrect then. But we're not intending to replace that boardwalk, we're just going to remove it, correct?
It'll be replaced in future fiscal years, but that's something that we'll be revisiting when we
Okay,
get.
so it will not be in this upcoming master plan.
No.
All right. Another item here is, I think on page 47, and it took me a while to figure out how the pages were numbered here. But Sunset Park in Potterville is listed as a county park, and it's not.
And that's actually one of my edits for.
That's one of your edits, okay. All right, and then page 39, let me see what that one was. I made a note here. I got to get to it. We need a better scroll page on Civic Clerk, I can tell you that. Oh, yeah, that was the Sunset Hills, was the page 39. So in this, because this master plan takes us to the end of our millage, correct?
Takes us to 2030. So
And when does the millage end?
2032.
2032, okay.
The last poll is from 2031, yeah.
All right. So this will cover all the things that we want to accomplish with that millage money up until almost the end, correct?
Correct. And all of that is listed in the strategic plan in the addendum.
Okay, because and when I look on here for action plans, we had 3 parks listed, and that was it out of the 10 that we have. So it is our intent to only, action plan is on, 47, that's where it was. So the action plan for this master plan, that is to focus on 3 of our parks? Or this is just the majority of the items that we're going to work on?
This is just the majority of the items that we're going to work on.
Okay, so shouldn't we list the other 7 parks in
Logan,
here?
can you scroll to the page that he's referring to?
Page 93 of the online packet.
Well, I've got 47 on the page number, and it's 93 in the packet.
What would be nice, would be if you have a link in the packet, you click it, opens, so then you'd maintain it. But for people that don't have good technology, that might be a hindrance. So you're always trying to balance functionality with access. So it's beginning on table 14.
It's 47 of the master plan and 94 of the, or 93 of the, 94 of the, of our packet. Is that about right, Ben?
Yeah. And one thing that we've talked about we're gonna do next year with the CIP is add parks to it. So we have a 3-year build out for the parks, and it isn't just these 3, it's each of them. But I hear your feedback. You'd like to see if we have planned projects over the next 3 years for other parks, if we can integrate them into the table before Wednesday. That's what
Well,
you're
that's
asking.
what I would like, yeah, I'd like to see an entire plan for all of our parks, including Keeney, if we're putting off and I don't know why we would put off the removal unless you're talking about this coming winter, you want to remove the rest of that boardwalk.
That would have to be discussed with our operations supervisor, but I believe that was the plan.
Okay.
Because it's like a sweet spot. You don't want the ground so frozen that you can't.
I understand that,
But not too soft that you can't get out to it.
but I don't think we should leave a half-done boardwalk out in the middle of the water. I'm just saying, I don't see that as an asset.
No,
for our
and
park.
that's
Our
not the
major
intent.
concern, why we did it that way was our major concern was just prohibiting access to
I
it.
understand that.
So we removed it at both ends so people can't get to
I
it.
understand that. I just like to see that.
And I remember, I think we had a quote from a vendor to do that work, and it was something like 130,000. And we had talked about if we broke it up and then used our seasonal staff, we could do it for significantly less, because we wouldn't be paying somebody else for liability to go out and do that work. So this is why it kind of got, if we had just paid somebody else to do it, it may have all gotten done at once, but it would have been a much heftier price tag.
Okay. All right, well, as long as all we're doing is moving this forward, then I'm okay with, but you'll have the edited copy by when?
I have asked them to have that to us by Friday.
This
We'll
coming-
have to see about the new edits that you want, though.
Okay, well, he mentioned it, so all right, thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, I mean, this document is a non-exclusive, non-exhaustive guiding document of what we want to do, right? I mean, it's not like this is like the
Correct.
letter of the law. So I mean, like, I think there's some wiggle room in here too, in terms of how this stuff gets done. We probably don't want to be too prescriptive.
I'll say too that, I mean, the master plan is also in conjunction with our strategic plan. And the strategic plan, I would argue, is the document that we're going most heavily off of. I mean, that is what we want to do. So the master plan is, while it's important to have for.
More of a vision document.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's something that we have so we can go out for grants and acquire the necessary funds for the projects in our strategic plan.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Did you make a motion, Commissioner DeRosa? I thought I heard Commissioner DeRosa.
If our motion is to move this forward to the full board, then yes, I will make that motion.
I'll support the motion. Okay, so we got a motion in support, oh, yes, Commissioner.
Okay. So I don't have to be part of public comment, so I don't have to worry. You are aware that we need a couple of swing sets or something over there by the fishing pier, right?
Yes, I've taken your comments into consideration and we will.
Okay, I just don't want to miss my
Yep.
opportunity.
No.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that moves. At this time, yes, Commissioner.
Just want to follow up with Ethan on this trout versus walleye at Crandall. I know that the walleye, they're not native to, they live in rivers, not lakes. So we would have to continue to restock, correct?
They're in lakes. I mean, but they can't reproduce in Crandall.
Okay,
So we would have to restock.
so what about the trout? Would they reproduce in Crandall?
I've been told that they would, but regardless of what we put in there, it would be restocked annually.
And is that because fishing and whatnot, it's not a big enough body of water to have a self-sustaining population if we allow
At this time, yes.
catching?
Yeah, there needs to be some more, I mean, the fishery needs to be healthier than what it is to really.
How often would we have to restock it until it becomes self-sustaining?
I would have to talk with our biologist about that. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Because they're not doing this free of charge. What's it going to cost us?
I haven't gotten any cost estimates from them. I'm fairly certain that they do go around to lakes and just stock them.
Well, I thought when we first brought this walleye thing to discussion, it was like $3 a piece.
Because the state of Michigan did not have any at the time, and so we were going to purchase them and stock them,
Okay, so
but
if
we
the
did
state of
not.
Michigan has them, they are free.
To my knowledge, yes.
I'd like to find out.
Or minimal at the very least, yeah.
Well, seeing as how we're not charging for fishing to take them out, I'd like to know what the cost is to put them in.
I mean, it's a fair point. 6 years from now, depending on what the future of parks looks like, you all would have to decide if we need a sustainable footprint and we didn't have a millage sustaining, what are things that can be built for? And, you know, charging to fish on a lake might be something you would have to explore probably through the work group to this body. But yeah, it's a good point, especially if we have to put money into it that people want to fish there. It's just something to consider.
Yeah,
6 years from now.
I'll definitely look into that.
All right, thank you, Ethan.
I have a question. Over at Fox Park, we have the fishing pier, and we have people, as I told you before, fishing. Okay. Didn't DNR stock that too at one point? Fox?
Knowledge, we have never had stocking done in any of our bodies of water.
So what are they fishing for over there?
Panfish, bluegill, perch, smaller fish.
Oh, okay. Because a lot of people have their poles. I see kids even walking down the road there into the park. A couple
Yeah,
of them will
I mean,
be,
it's a nice little fishing spot. We've run fishing programs out of that park before. So.
oh, good. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this stuff.
Okay, so at this time, since we have all the players in the room, I want to make a motion to the board that we amend the agenda and add, what's that, A, B, C, D, and option D, which would be the discussion about the observatory. I need 2/3, so, of the board to amend the agenda. So,
So moved.
Sport.
all right, so I got a motion to support. I mean, we can do it by voice, and then if there's any discrepancy, we can go by roll call. So at this time, to amend the agenda to open it up for this discussion about the observatory, all in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. All right, so we have the observatory. Ethan, I guess, you already said, you know, like Chad and you, I guess, go ahead and
if-
tell
if
us a
you
little
have
bit
any-
about this.
Well, and I can give a quick,
yeah.
I'll give,
Go ahead,
I'll
sorry
give
about
part of a quick synopsis. And if we probably got this letter sooner, we could have talked about integrating it into the packet. So what I will say is, we have a historic relationship with the Fox Park Observatory. I want to say going back at least a decade or two, right? 3 decades. So initially, what we had in place was a lease agreement with a nonprofit at the time that was managing and doing events there. In that agreement, it had like spelled out liability provisions in terms of that organization carrying coverage. Due to just how things go, loss of volunteers, loss of institutional knowledge, that group no longer exists. But Parks had just continued to allow the organization to function. It wasn't until the structural integrity of the facility came into question that it became a red flag of like, okay, well, first off, what's this if it's not directly being run by park staff? And then secondly, if something were to happen, who's liable, which led to the bigger discussions of exploring having those pieces. So I believe you guys do an annual event that unfortunately you've had to postpone because at this time, we're not comfortable with the roof being opened because of the beam. Chad's passing out the engineering assessment that we had done on it. So at the work group currently was a discussion about how do we manage this in the short term. Our proposal was that the group either become like a subset of the Friends of the Parks, which is an existing 501c3 partner, and then through that, get their liability coverage and continue to do operations. That unfortunately is all happening in a very tight time frame, and I don't think that's gotten to play out. So I think the letter that we received yesterday was just asking for consideration of taking up, replacing that beam and its costs as part of the park's operations. And instead of thinking of these activities at the observatory as an independent agency activity, try to think of them in terms of programming at the department was kind of how I took the letter. It seems like I'm getting a nod from the audience. So Chad's here, he can speak about the facility itself and then also his assessment of what he thinks it would cost, absent getting a formal bid.
Okay.
Hello, Chad.
Good morning. Yeah, I passed out the engineer's opinion and report. And just to kind of back up, when Ethan took over as Parks Director, we did a lot of assessment on a lot of things, building-wise, pavilions, anything, just took a deep dive and started out with getting the opinions of construction codes, you know, is the stuff up to code? We had several meetings with Chris and his building inspection team. So we went through that in terms of the observatory, met with them out there on that. And as you can see from the pictures, it's in pretty, the back beam there is in pretty rough shape. The building's a very unique building in and of itself. It's similar to a pole barn structure, but the way it was designed and engineered, the whole roof portion from the trusses up through the roof roll on a track back to the north. So it can be opened up and the telescopes can be used inside the building with an open roof. It's a pretty unique and ingenious design. Through previous parks administrations, it's become in disrepair, right? So we started looking at, like I mentioned before, talking with construction codes. They said, you know, what we already kind of knew, it needs to be brought up to code, which had a conversation with controller's office. We decided to go with it, you know, get an engineer on board and give us a structural analysis, which is what you have before you. In looking at that, I think in just a rough estimate, we've got, you know, $5,000 into the engineering opinion and review, another probably safe, you know, 10 to 15,000 to repair and get it usable. And you can see, and I apologize, we weren't really prepared for this. That's why I handed it down. But in the report, he kind of lays out, you know, the usability of the space and what it would take to get it up to where the observatory folks could use it while we, you know, look at other options. So that's my knee-jerk, you know, I did a quick dive into it. I think it would cost, you know, with the $5,000 we've already spent on engineering, or roughly, and another, you know, 10 to 15 on the actual repairs. It's a 30-foot long span. It's not something that's sitting on a shelf at Home Depot. Obviously, we have to get it built and then equipment to put in place. And it's a little bit bigger of a project than what we would do in-house with our parks team. So it would require a construction firm or somebody to do that work for us. We talked about this at the Parks Work Group meeting. Was that last week or the week before? Last week. Kind of talked through it, and it was determined, and at that time, that didn't want to move forward with this because of funding. We didn't want to spend any more money on that at this time. So that's how this all came to be. We relayed that to the observatory folks, and they wrote the letter, and here we are. So,
What other, Ethan, what other uses does this building give your park?
Right now, it's just the observatory. You know, but they've been doing programming every other weekend for.
I would say since 2007, when the parks kind of acquired it from the greater.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been a staple of Fox Park for many, many years, but right now it is just the observatory. We have been in conversations with Johnson Hill Land Ethics per the strategic plan to look at future designs to renovate the building, to get more use from a programming perspective. You know, our natural is multi-use. So it would be an observatory. It would have all of those aspects, but we'd also have a multi-purpose room where our naturals could do programming. We could hold other events, things of that nature, to increase usability and make it a better space for the group itself. Because the group does a significant amount of imaging for NASA, right?
Yes, there's some research.
Yeah.
In that with partnerships with Michigan State.
We have it at the podium, please.
Yeah, here, you want to come up to the.
You want to come up to the podium, I think is what he was asking.
So, on top of running our public viewing events, right? During the night sky with everybody in the county. We have been kind of working with expanding out with Michigan State, trying to work with their Department of Astrophysics. They have undergraduate students that need to have access to facilities to use scopes. We've been working with Abrams Planetarium. They're going to be running an astronomy course. Part of that course is in-course learning about astronomy, learning about the different types of objects and stuff like that, but they want to run you have to use instruments to be able to view that night sky. We would be part of that portion of that class. So we've expanded out through that. The Star Party has been more kind of a public outreach thing, I think, in the past. I know there was some agreements and things that were made with the previous Parks Board that our lead volunteer set up. And that was more of gaining interest right into astronomy, the facility itself, and everything else. So it's kind of like a public event to draw a crowd. We have a large group in this state that they have big scopes. They come out, they promote, they share with the public. Trying to think if there's, I mean, there's the scientific research of this, right? There's the public outreach, right? And that public outreach too, I may say, it's not just this county, right? We kind of support Tri-County. We have outreach that's outside of the state. We actually have visitors that have come from out of state. I would dare to say that most of the people that come really, there's a large percentage that is from the county, but a major percentage comes from Ingham County, from Jackson County.
Who owns the building?
So my understanding, right, so
Thank you, sir, but
No.
who owns the building?
Eaton County owns the building.
Okay.
And from a facilities, as I got into it with Ethan, just like all of our other buildings, we have a group using our building, and we need to get some formal agreement in place or updated at least. That's how that was the reasoning. We need to have, just like the rest of our leases or memorandums of understanding, something in place with these folks that binds everything legally and liability wise. That's my first take.
Yeah, I would, my opinion is like, it's the parks got to figure out what they want to do with that structure if we own the structure before, like, we spend any more money on it. But then I had Commissioner Pro-Wright and then Commissioner Mott, so.
Okay, I was on the board when we converted it from a private astronomy club out of Lansing, and they had built the structure. My understanding is it should be our building, and we also have it under our liability policy. I'd been out there before a couple of times, so I know what he's talking about. So are we not thinking that we don't have any money in the parks millage to do what needs to be done to make it structurally approved?
The discussion at the work group that did not come out as a formal recommendation to Public Works yet was trying to help get to a place where the group could fundraise. So if it's going to be $15,000 and if they were able to raise $3,000 or $5,000, then come back with a collective, it's going to cost us $15,000 to do it. They were able to independently raise $5,000 and then have kind of a partnership approach to that piece. If we, as part of our strategic plan, do an update on the building, ultimately, like, the county's only going to do so much. If we want something that not as novel and as accessible as what they have right now with the sliding roof, there will need to be a partnership. And so we just haven't had time to let that play out, but that was the discussion had at the work group last week.
Okay, if they're involved with MSU and things, would this be appropriate to get a hold of their astronomy department and see if they've got a few $1,000s out there in the MSU department?
I would defer, I would say, but yeah, I believe we're one of the few dark sky designations in
Yeah.
the mid-Michigan area. So while I agree with you, the MSU has a very large budget. If they're utilizing, and it's a unique feature of this area, I think you'd probably be better suited to have those discussions. But, so that was the intention, was get the nonprofit either reestablished or through Friends of the Park, so that they can go and solicit to bring money to the table to help pay for the renovation. That's the intention.
Okay, because the major discussion also, I mean, they needed our liability umbrella. That was a major part. But the dark sky situation, they sold us a whole speech on how good it was to be right exactly there. And so I tell people a lot to take their families out there. And it's really set up because there's steps and everything that the smaller children can get on to go look at the big, telescopes and things. So I just want to, that is really a good program that he's talking about.
Absolutely. I'm not arguing that at all. It's
Right, I'm just looking for money too.
from a facility standpoint, and when they have events, it becomes a concern for me that we're having people out there and camping out or whatever during the night, and we don't have any kind of agreement. That's what.
Oh, I
kind of
didn't know
It's
that.
like, it's not that we're hosting it and Ethan or another Parks employee is there, and we're really, it's run kind of independently. And
Yeah,
back in the day, the original lease did have a requirement for a liability provision. So while it's our building and say, straight line winds took it down, which would be terrible, our insurance would cover the building, but what we didn't have, because we aren't running programming, is liability for if somebody got injured because of an event like that. And that's what led to the discussions and the temporary delay of the event later this month.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mott.
Yeah, Controller Dawson pretty much said what I wanted to say, but I do want to add, the bulk of the reason why we stopped this is because we didn't feel that the residents of all the residents of Eaton County should be funding 100% of this. That if the organization or this group can form a 501c or partner with Friends of Park, raise some funds, I mean, love to go forward and partner and keep it going. So I'm curious your thoughts on being able to either form a 501c partner or do something to raise funds for this.
See if maybe I can answer that. I mean, right now, the Capital Area Astronomy Association, right? I think that's the name that it was when you guys had discussions and things got transferred over, right? That was kind of disbanded back in November of this last year. So actually, one of the group volunteers that's out there right now was the president at the time, right? So due to dwindling membership, older people moving away, passing away, actually, the whole thing kind of collapsed, right? So they were not able to go out and raise any funds anymore. They did not hold any events. Meetings were held at the planetarium in Lansing. So when he come back and told us that as a group, some of us, right, some of us were actually part of that association. Some of us weren't. I happen to not be. The discussion was, hey, guys, it has a 75-year history in the community, the greater community. We wanted to see if we could resurrect that. At the moment, we're in discussions to try to figure out and move that forward, right? It would be a goal. It would be awesome to be able to do that. Right now, we are not. There is basically the bylaws, would have to be a reorganization of that. Obviously, the 501c. Discussing about getting liability insurance, right? All of that had lapsed when all of that dissipated and went away. So we are in discussions as a group to try and figure out how to resurrect that. Right now, we're not at that stage to where we can do that, right? We were in discussions about what steps we got to do and what type of 501c we would need to do. Again, it's all talk right now. I mean, everything we have been running since, I believe, 2007 as volunteers underneath the parks system. So, yeah, that's kind of where it stands right now. As far as getting that, that's going to take time, right, to revitalize that and reorganize something like that. When we got to that point, yes, we would definitely want to be in partnership with you, right? You have the facilities. We would need to make some sort of agreements. When we got to that point, yes, we would love to be open to and make those kind of agreements. And yes, possibly go back to a lease situation, which I think was the original when they set this all up.
When was that lease again? Remind me.
It was, what was the start year on? It was like a 10-year lease, I think.
I think it was a 10-year lease. I think it was 1989 or 90, I think. Yeah, 1990.
Formally ended in 2006.
Yeah.
But I think we just kind of kept the existing infrastructure in place, even though we didn't renew it.
Yeah.
I was curious, one of the suggestions that the work group probably conveyed to you was being a subgroup of the Friends of the Park. So some organizations will do that, where they'll have a subcommittee like this one here. So you guys could be under the umbrella of their 501, then you're not paying an accounting firm, it's just not going to be, but when those funds come in from fundraising, they can be locked in for the observatory's use only. So anyway, that was a suggestion from the work group for you all to consider. So then you don't have to do the filing, have a board, have your own meeting in minutes. And it would honestly bolster Friends of the Park too, because you'd be combining enthusiasts of parks and the observatory. So anyway, that was a suggestion. I don't know.
Yes, and me looking at that, right, so after the reorganization, the dissolving of the Parks Board, it also kind of dissolved them, and right, so they're right in the process right now, I think, of kind of trying to reorganize. Obviously, there was things in place there, they can get that there faster, right? We haven't had those discussions with them yet. They can definitely be made, but my part of it, my concern is how viable actually are they now since all the reorganization and the things that have happened. If it is definitely something that, how much contact do they have with this commission and this board and this committee, other than maybe Ethan as the parks director being the liaison between them and you? Do they actually have a working relationship with this board?
Well, Ethan wanted to come up and talk to that, so.
Yeah, so the Friends group is operational. We've been meeting monthly for over a year now. They have gained new membership. They are enacting 501c3. And I know that they would be interested in partnering with your organization. So that's what I'll say with that. I mean, they are interested in growing to what they were, so.
You good? Okay. Commissioner Christensen, then Toomey, and then DeRosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really like what they're doing and what they've been doing for many, many years, it sounds like. My concern at that work group, because I do sit on that work group, was, like Chair Mott said, the liability, the fact that maybe we could get some kind of funding match to move forward so that it doesn't all just come out of the parks account. Because I think if they didn't have their program going on, I'm kind of guessing from what I gathered in that meeting that that building probably wouldn't even be used at this point. And I, like I said, I'm on a 50-50 here because I really love what they're doing and I want to keep that moving forward. But again, we have to figure out how we're going to fund that when that's not something that was technically in our budget. I really like the fact that Ethan said that the Parks Group is willing to work with them and they don't have to form their own 501, which it's not super hard to do, but it's a beneficial that they wouldn't have to wait for that. So, I don't know, I think we can figure something out here, just, and a lease would be a major thing. I mean, we would have to have some form of agreement, I think, for legality purposes as well.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate all the conversation today. I think that I personally would just like staff to look at, at all of this and have the work group put together a recommendation. I just don't think everybody was prepared to make a decision today. So, I definitely want to see this continue, but would like to see if we can get some, funding sharing from whether that's MSU or fundraising or however else. I'd like those options to be explored, and I'm sure we can put something together. But I want to see this continue. I just don't think we have the information today to make a decision. So would like to see the work group do its thing and make work group recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Palmer, are there any events that you had scheduled that are in jeopardy right now because this is a non-functional building?
We had scheduled events that's actually on the Eaton County website right now throughout the rest of the year, right? We have always maintained, obviously weather dependent, right? 2 nights, 2 weekends a month. So Friday, Saturday, we had them scheduled out for the rest of this year. We usually now, because we kind of changed it as a group, because we've had a lot of interest, right? We've really grown, I think, in the last 4 or 5 years, right? I've been volunteering out there for about 9. There is a couple of other volunteers, they've been there since the beginning. Obviously, one was part of actually the building and construction of the facility. As far as any other, right, we've always tried to do, like, if there's a special event or a special astronomical event that is occurring, right, we always have interest, hey, are you guys going to be out there? Can we view that? We always held little special, I guess, events based on astronomical events that are occurring. I think there was maybe one of those that would have occurred this year that we would have had besides the Star Party, but the biggest thing is the actual public viewing. So right now, we maintain a Facebook page. We have pretty close to 4,000 followers on that right now. That's how we communicate with the public that, yes, hey, we are going to be out there tonight. We're not because of the weather. We're going to be the next night. Because there's such an interest with the astrophotography, people buying equipment and things like that, we decided that a rain or shine night that we would be out there, at least 2 of us. So when public wanted to come in and discuss, hey, we'd like to buy a telescope for our child this Christmas, what do you recommend? We maintain that too, so.
Are there any data acquisition dates that you had for other agencies? You mentioned NASA and MSU.
Well, it's more Michigan State, right, with the research, right? We were in discussions. We had the dean of the Department of Astrophysics, Michigan State, come out. He brought one of his students out, right? So this fall, we kind of stopped because of all what's going on here in having any further discussions, because if the facility is not running, we're obviously not going to be able to run and help out their students and be part of that research. Same thing again with Abrams Planetarium and them running their Astronomy 101 course. We won't be able to provide that too if we can't use the equipment inside the building. So yeah, some of that stuff obviously is going to get delayed. I'm not sure how we proceed forward if we don't have a facility, how we're going to have more conversations with them if we do not have a functioning facility, right?
Are there any participants in your group or that you work with that have equipment out there that are threatening to remove that equipment and not return?
Well, I mean, obviously, if the building is not going to be functional, right? So you guys, as the county, you own, there is 3 piers, main piers in the facility. There's a 16-inch Cassegrain telescope that sits on that pier. There were 2 12-inches that sat on 2 piers to the west and to the east. Those became non-functional, right? They're almost 30 years old. The electronics quit working on them. So we removed those because they're non-functioning. They're actually sitting in the back office. And we put on some of our own personal equipment to actually get that functioning. The other pier, we worked with what was left of the account from the Capital Area Astronomy Association. There was a little bit of money left there. There was some funds working with the Friends Group. We purchased a brand-new 11-inch RASA and a mount to revitalize that mount that had went away and became dysfunctional. So that part of, yes. And then kind of the agreement as volunteers have come in that, hey, if you're going to be out here, you're going to be active, you're going to participate in these public viewing events. If you have equipment, that you can place that in the observatory and utilize and use the equipment, right? So the equipment works for the scientific stuff, for imaging, for the education, and plus viewing, right? Because we only have just the 3 main piers. So that right now, I don't think anybody's threatening. We just want to find out where we are with you and the county, right? Until everybody says, hey, no, this isn't going forward, the facility is not going to be pursued and is not going to function, yes, I would see the volunteers that have equipment out there, yes, they're going to pull their equipment, obviously.
And the last question for you, and then I've got more for Chad and for Ethan. Last question for you is then your group is willing to work in partnership with the Parks Work, or with the Friends of the Parks group?
I believe so, yes. I just wanted to make sure that it's something that's still viable, right? Because of things that had happened in the past, it kind of dissolved them as well, right?
Okay.
The board going away and what have you. Is this something that, okay, yes, if this is the viable path and is going to continue, by all means, yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Palmer. Chad, when this building was constructed initially, the way they retracted that roof was by literally strapping it to a vehicle and pulling it open and then doing the opposite to pull it closed, correct?
I don't know. So the way it was designed, and you can kind of see in that back beam there, you can see on it's the second image on the handout I gave you there. That's the north side of the structure. You can see a bit of electrical cord power coming up there. There was a winch mounted up there on that back beam. They powered they hooked that up to the removable roof with cables and then winched it back over this structure that literally just holds that roof portion up while they're doing their viewing inside the building. I believe, just some anecdotal information, I think this building was built, the blueprints I saw were early 90s, so that gives you kind of a timeline through several parks administrators or administration directors through that time. It's in need of repair, it's been deferred, and that's kind of how we arrived.
My understanding is that
relatively small
winch
user
beam.
group. I'm sorry, go ahead.
My understanding is that winch beam and the winch were added later on.
And I don't know, I wasn't around when they originally did the thing in the 90s.
Okay.
Could be.
Well, going with that thought, how much of that structure minus that winch beam is compromised?
So according to the engineer's opinion, and that's in the write-up when you get a chance to review it, just that north beam.
Okay.
And some bracing, the diagonal bracing needs to be replaced.
Okay, the liability aside from this discussion at the moment, how long and how much how long would it take and how much money would it take to repair that beam so that building is usable?
And that's the estimate I gave, the $15,000 to $20,000.
Right, so we could get that done in what kind of time frame you think?
Well, so I was prepared for this at the Parks Work Group, and I was going to reach out to contractors and see what that timeline is, and then we said no, so I stopped everything with that. I would expect it would be a 3 to 4 weeks to to order and receive that beam, and then the construction, you know, it wouldn't, a week, I think you could replace it and do the work. It's just the ordering of the beam and to back up a little bit, kind of some of the delay was getting the engineer's report. We were hoping to get this several weeks ago, and, you know, everybody's busy, and we didn't get it until, you know, a couple weeks after we were expecting. So that kind of put us under a little bit of pressure to, we were trying to have this ready so they could have their event. It just, timeline-wise, it didn't work out, and
So it's feasible that could be functional within 30 days then?
yes.
Okay. And we're looking at the possibility of a replacement structure, and that, as I recall from our discussion at the Parks Work Group, we're looking at several years to replace that structure, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And this was the idea, is that we would get this back operational while we continue the development of the parks through the strategic plan, like Ethan mentioned earlier.
Okay.
But the end goal and part of the strategic plan would be to have a building or something that is more multi-purpose. Maybe the mountain bike folks could rent mountain bikes there, or kayak rental, or something more than just the sorry about that.
That's all right.
Just the observatory, because that's kind of the pinch that we're in. It's a pretty small user group.
Right.
And no offense to the group, but we have to determine where we put those funds in buildings and so on and so forth. So that's,
So retracting that roof is not a safety issue at this point. It's the beam that the winch is on is what the problem is, correct?
that's correct.
Okay, so however they retract that roof is not an issue for us at this time, correct?
If they used a winch with the way that structurally, they wouldn't be able to use that.
Well, if we anchored the winch to the tail end of a vehicle, we could winch it open
And I think they have done that.
I'm dead serious. If it was pulled open by a vehicle when it was first built, what's the difference?
I think they have done that.
7 years of use and wear and tear probably would be my answer.
I'm saving that liability argument for another
That's
just a
the
minute.
most impressing thing right here.
I know, and I'm getting to
Moving
that.
that roof is liability.
And I'm getting to that. But the roof itself is not structurally unsound, correct?
That's correct.
And the tracks that support it are not structurally unsound, correct?
Correct.
Based on the engineer's report, it does not suggest having the weight of that roof on that structure.
Okay, so what we need to do then is replace that beam that the winch is connected to make that building functional, safely functional.
That's correct.
All right, thank you for that.
Question?
I'm still going.
Yeah, your last question?
No, it's not my last, Mr. Chair, because I want to ask Ethan a few questions. When it comes to, and I want to get to the repair aspect of that later, because I think we have some options before us, but when it comes to the liability now, Ethan, if this group, Mr. Palmer's group, were to partner with Friends of the Parks, do they carry sufficient liability insurance within that group that we could have an event out there with this building with the roof retracted the way it is right now?
They would need to get a new policy.
The Friends of the Parks would?
Correct.
Okay, and how long does that take?
I'm not an expert in insurance. I wouldn't be able to answer that at this time.
So we almost had them originally, like up until yesterday, I thought the event was still going. You can buy liability coverage for like an event. And if you don't have alcohol, it's significantly cheaper. But the problem is, again, if you have an event and the insurance doesn't cover it, that liability still rests with who took the policy out. Right? So if you knowingly used a structure that you had good information you shouldn't have been using and an event occurs, anyway, it calls into question whether or not that policy would be valid. I would also say, just from an administrative perspective, even if we said, let's temporarily do this one event, we're not gonna open the roof, but we're still gonna do it, and let's use it as a fundraising opportunity, like, we would have to have park staff there. There are a lot of dates for this, so that'd be asking park staff to adopt a lot of programming that has not been a part of the footprint before. What I'd like to do is have discussions with the department, have discussions with Mr. Palmer. If you have 4,000 people following you on Facebook, I believe the Parks has a donations. We could put the word out there, and if you're able to raise $3,000 or $4,000, that's a different conversation. coming back to this body next month. So maybe give us a month to try to come up with a fundraising strategy. We can bring that information before you. And if doing the event without the roof open is still a go and Ethan's staff can do that one event, I don't know. We can have those discussions offline and see if we can find a viable path. We just haven't had the ability to do it on the timeline before us.
Okay, thank you. So anyway, to sum this up, we have at least 30 days ahead of us to get a beam built and installed. So that would give this group 30 days to fundraise. I would suggest that because we have funds from the millage that would support this purchase of up to $15,000, that was the estimate, that we do so with the thought in mind that we would be reimbursed for that amount by the Friends group or whatever fundraiser they could do. And then encourage the Friends of Eaton County Parks to partner with this group so that that group carries the liability insurance for going forward until such time that we come up with a better plan, a better program, and even a better facility. But to allow this group not to lose their enthusiasm or their ability to function. And that was my last question.
All right, well, thank you very much, Commissioner Christensen. You still have a question
I
or a statement?
was actually going to say pretty much what Ben said. My only concern, I understand Commissioner Toomey's question or response, but that work group only meets, we won't meet again till what, October? And if time is an issue, I think we're going back to the work group might be
Their scheduled meetings are every other month, but we certainly could schedule a meeting if it was necessary.
a special meeting. Okay, okay. I just was trying to reiterate the fact that time might be of essence and we don't have a meeting till October. So, all right, no disrespect to anyone. Thank you.
Okay. All right, hey, thank you, great discussion.
Thank you. Everyone have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, guys.
Well, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can we move forward with my suggestion? I will make a
Oh,
motion.
you made a
that-
motion.
I'll make a
Oh,
motion
okay.
to that effect.
Motion, please.
My motion would be that first we go forward with ordering that beam and having it installed as soon as possible. Second would be to get together with the parks, Friends of the Parks, and see if they will willingly partner with this, and I don't know the name of the group, Mr. Palmer, I apologize, but partner with that group and that they would carry the liability insurance for any event that this group may have. And then the last assumption would be, or suggestion would be that they, in their fundraising, that they would reimburse us for those funds that we put forth into that beam and whatever related costs there would be to it, and maybe cap it at $20,000.
Okay, that's your motion,
That's my motion.
Commissioner?
So what happens if they fundraise $0?
I think they'll do better than zero.
Well, I'm not saying, no offense.
We'll take what we can get.
You know, it's just the only concern I have with that, for what it's worth administratively, is that would be something I'd want to see in the lease, but right now there's not an entity to enter into a lease with. So just for perspective, really the first matter is you've got to line up with Friends of the Park so that we can have an entity to enter an agreement with. Otherwise, we'll be entering with an individual, right? And if an organization later fundraises, we have no claim to those funds. So anyway, it just,
Well, the reality of the repair would be that we have millage grant funds for a building that we own. So we can go ahead with the repair of that beam right now, regardless of anything else that comes about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of assumptions in there. Oh, you had a question?
Not a question, just a clarification. So tomorrow, the Friends of Eaton County Parks are meeting. They meet monthly. So I'm happy to bring all of this information to them and we can talk about that further with that group. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Seeing no second, the motion dies.
We tried.
All right. Yes, Commissioner.
I'm supportive of nearly everything Commissioner Groshek just said. I just want to do it in a different order. That's all it is. I think I just want to do it in the correct order. I support your sentiments fully.
Well, I can amend that.
Commissioner, you're out of order.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Chair, if I may. I'd be willing to amend my motion, but I think the priority here is to get that building functional. So I would still say that we should go ahead with that, repair that at this time. Because in 5 years, I don't think this group's going to be that patient to wait for a new
Is that
facility.
your motion?
I will put forth a motion that we should repair that building immediately, as soon as possible.
All right, we got a motion and support.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All right, roll call.
And this is coming out of the Parks millage, right?
Correct.
Do we send this to Ways and Means or no?
Yeah, it would go to Ways and Means for the financial approval.
Commissioner Pearl Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Toomey,
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Commissioner Christensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Barber.
No.
That's a majority.
Oh, majority wins and moves it to ways. Okay, thank you.
Can I just comment or have?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of clean this final word here. So for Ways and Means Friday, I'm not gonna have formal estimates. I'm not gonna be able to have all that yet. So is that something that you guys are gonna move or they would move that I would pursue that and then we would come back next month? Is that, or do you want me to just use the
Yeah.
formal or the informal $20,000 cap or whatever we said?
I think we will have to flush that out by Ways and Means, but yes, I think we're probably just gonna establish a ceiling, and then if there's additional funds, we'll have to come back to the board to request those above the 20,000 that I think was I think 15K was mentioned, but I think
For the construction. we've already
20K,
got
because we've
five,
already
but-
spent $5,000 on engineering, so.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Okay. Finally, we move to the road commission.
Well, thanks for having me. You still want me to talk, or can I just go? Yeah, I'll try to be quick, because not, just a couple main things I kind of want to hit. This time of year, I just kind of give you guys a project status update. So in the packet, there's a map that's on the screen, and then there's a list. On the map, the ones that have the black highlight background are complete. If they don't have that, they're not quite done yet. So they may have been started, but they're not done. The only couple things I guess I want to point out, there's 4 culverts on there, and all 4 of those are done, and they were all township matched, so township stepped up this year. The April 6th storm put a damper on some of our culverts. 3 of those were directly due to that, and one of them was just because it was getting old. But yeah, each one of those townships paid 25% match towards that. And then the only other main thing that's, if you look on the map, it's not on the map, Holt Highway, it's a federal aid project from Diamondale to Waverly, that we rejected those bids. They came in like 26% high. Our estimate was already like 20% high, so it was like $400,000 extra. So we rejected them, modified it slightly, and then we're rebidding it. So that'll get done next year. That'll be in next year's map. And just kind of an overall, we did about 72 miles of preventative maintenance on our primary system. Some chip seal, and then in Delta, that's not done yet, but we're gonna do some slurry seals and something called a cape seal. It's essentially a chip seal with a slurry seal on top of it, to help keep the primaries in good shape. Similar to what I wanna do with the locals with the millage, but we'll get to that in a second. And then we did about 6 miles of resurfacing. On locals, we did 6 miles of preventative maintenance, 3 in Oneida and around 3 in Hamlin. Those are both matched by those townships, because we don't have a millage to do that work yet. So both those townships have stepped forward to start maintaining those local roads and keep them in good shape. We did about 8 miles of resurfacing with the millage and about 87 miles of re-gravel. All but 1.5 miles was millage. Oneida Township paid for 1.5 miles of gravel to kind of, same thing, start keeping those gravel roads in good shape. Because that was one of the ones that was done first with the millage program, so, try and keep those in better shape, so. Anything major I want to touch on? The Webster Road Bridge is behind schedule. It's supposed to be open by the end of July. It's not open yet. It's supposed to be open by early to middle of next week at this point, so hopefully that happens soon. 5 Point through Creepy Swamp. Hey, we got our permit. It only took me, not me, but between me, the consultant, and whatever, about 1.5 years to get through Eagle and EPA, so. But we finally have that permit. It's going through MDOT. It's getting submitted whether possibly today for obligation, so those federal funds will be secured. That project will probably start November, December. And then it'll be closed. It'll probably take 6 months because they're gonna slowly load through the swamp, let it settle. When it kind of stops settling, load a little more and keep doing that. And so they're thinking it's gonna take like 4 months for that to happen, and then the construction after that. It could take 2 months for the surcharge to happen. It could take 6 months for that to happen, so can't really predict what the soil's gonna do. The Nixon Road project next to the battery plant is complete. That one's open. There's a section of Millet that we were gonna extend from the end of Millet to this Nixon project. GM had mentioned something about maybe they didn't want to do that now, so we're trying to work through that to find out if they want to do that. That they're funding from MEDC, so if they don't want to do it, I guess I can't spend their money for them. This is obviously the final year of the millage, as everybody knows. Second application of dust control, I think, has started. If it hasn't started, it's going to start very soon, so it's probably calls that some of you guys get, we get them as well. That should happen here pretty quick. And I think that's the main points I wanted to hit on that before I kind of get to the upcoming millage. Anybody have any questions on this year's projects?
Commissioner Drosha, and then. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Matt. You mentioned something about extending Millet Highway?
Yeah, so as part of the battery plant, they secured MEDC money to improve Davis Highway, improve Nixon, and it was going to reconnect Millet. Millet was abandoned when GM built their plant from Guinea to where Millet ends now. I was gonna reconnect that and then improve it all the way to Nixon, so there's like another outlet for the GM people to go to the west and whatever.
So it wouldn't be a private drive for General Motors, it would be a public road?
Yeah, it would be a public road.
Okay. How many roundabouts are you gonna put into that one?
I wanted to put one at the GM entrance actually, but they're not interested because if you feel free to go out there and watch these people leave work, and you're gonna have some crashes of people trying to turn left out of there. So I tried to talk them into roundabout, but it's pretty apparent that they think roundabouts are the worst thing ever. So I don't think we're gonna talk them into that. But sounds like maybe they don't want to do that extension at all. So again, we're still working through that.
Okay. And then this extension then would run along the boundary of the General Motors property, is that? Or would it run
We'd actually have
through?
to get new easement.
It'd be an easement?
We'd have to get new easement, yes.
Okay.
So when we abandoned that part of Millet, the easement, the right-of-way went away.
Right.
We'd have to re-secure that right-of-way to do that.
Okay, so that would be just 1 mile long?
It'd be about 1.5 miles from the end, where it ends now, to Nixon. But it'd be about a half mile that doesn't exist right now that would need to be constructed.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Pearl Wright.
Okay, Matt, so it's already blacktop now down to Davis, is that correct?
Yes,
Nixon?
from Davis to Mount Hope is complete, reconstructed, pavement markings, everything.
Okay, so if I wanted to go, if I went down Nixon from Delta Township, St. Joe all the way down,
Yep.
where can I cross over that's blacktop to get over to 100 so I can go to Potterville, so I can get on Lansing Road to come here.
You should be able to go all the way down to Billwood now.
Now I can go all the way to Billwood and
Yeah,
then
should
go
be paved all the
Billwood
way.
to,
Yeah, because it was already paved between Billwood and, right, do I have that right? Hang on.
I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's, yes, so it'll be paved all the way down to Billwood now.
Okay, so now I got an option that I didn't know about.
Yep.
Thank you.
You can not have to turn it Mount Hope anymore if you don't want to.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you. Sorry, and I heard you mention the Holtz/Diamonddale project that got postponed until next year because the bids came in, how high, you said? Over what you were expecting?
I think it was 26% high, plus our original estimate was like 20%.
20% high. So I was just wondering, I mean, why? Why were they so high? And then two, is it going to be cheaper next year?
Yes, it'll definitely be cheaper next year. Everything came down, so we we bid our local paving for the millage and everything. I'm trying to remember when it was, but 3 weeks before that, Clinton County had bid and got around $70 a ton. 3 weeks later, our bid was $100 a ton. So in 3 weeks' time, asphalt went up by $30 a ton, pretty much, which is about the same time that this whole highway happened to be getting out to bid. So between the asphalt being high, just everything went up for whatever reason over a short period. Things have come back down by the end of summer. I don't know what happened. I can't really explain it, but we modified some things to reduce some of the work, so that'll be a little bit cheaper. Plus just costs in general. Plus we'll be bidding it the end of this year for next year, so we'll be kind of like first in line, so the contractors will probably be a little more aggressive to get work lined up for next year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt, this is for my Eaton Township people. With the construction of the quarry, the neighbors along Perky Road are concerned about parking, traffic, all that. What does it take for a community to post no parking signs on a stretch of county road?
We would have to get a study by the state police for the road commission to do it. I believe the township can pass an ordinance, but I would have to confirm that. But I think the township can pass an ordinance saying you can't park in this area. That was one of the things that we discussed. I don't know which meeting it was I had when we talked about that, and I was concerned with people parking there for the sledding hill. And they were gonna put up a fence or bushes or something to deter people, but if it becomes an issue where people are parking there, then at that point, the road commission could get the state police involved, say, hey, we need to limit parking here, put signs up. But the township, I think, can probably do that through ordinance, but again, I'd have to verify that.
Because my understanding is that the quarry is listed 710 South Perky Road as a driveway for events. Are you aware of that?
It better not be for events, because that was one of in my comments that I sent, I don't know if it was to the county or whoever the review was through, but that was one of my comments, is that it has to be disconnected from the main area. That driveway is to serve that house, and there's a barn or something there only. So that's, and I'll be sticking to that.
They call it the Rock Cafe or some name like that. I can't remember what they do call it, but I saw that and questioned my township about it, and they were unaware that that was an event entrance.
Yeah, and there's it's supposed to be maintenance, storage and things, so if they're planning something different, this is the first time hearing of it as well.
Okay, all right. But I think in the future, they're gonna want to post no parking signs, at least on Perky Road. I don't know about Stewart Road.
If they're gonna make it a wine tasting venue or something where that is a specific venue, then they're gonna need to improve that driveway to a commercial driveway.
All right, okay, thank you.
Matt, I got a question. So, if a city does construction and closes down roads, right, and does detours, right? And I know, and you know that, you know, the detour is set for the next paved road or the next main road, right? Because it's designed for weight, and people use side roads or whatever, and that side road needs maintenance during the road closures, and, you know, like a dirt road, right? So if you have a dirt road that has 50 cars drive down it a day, let's say, and now you got 500 cars driving down, who's responsible for the maintenance of that? It's our road, it's your road, right? But who's responsible for that maintenance once those 500 cars deteriorate the road caused by another organization?
If they're not using it as the official detour, it'd be difficult to put those costs on them. If it's something that was pretty obvious it was gonna happen, it's something we can include in the permit, saying, hey, you guys gotta grade and do this on the road. Sometimes it's hard. I assume you're talking about the Kinneyville closure or whatever's closed there.
I'm talking about all the road closures in Eaton Rapids because pretty much
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole
they have
city's
the one,
closed.
yeah, south of town, they got that one too, so, yeah, they're public roads, open to public travel, people can use
Yeah.
them, and if it's obvious that, yeah, somebody's gonna do this, then, we can include that, hey, you gotta add some maintenance into your cost. Outside of that, it's just call the road commission and we'll put a service request and take a look at it.
So, but we both know there's lack of communication between organizations, right? Like, the city doesn't come and say, hey, Matt, you know, like, we're gonna close down these roads, and we know human nature, and they're not gonna go the 3 miles to the blacktop road, they're gonna go a half mile to this dirt road, right? They don't do that, do they? They come up with an agreement in which to offer some more funding for additional gravel or grading or dust control, right?
I haven't had, typically it's something that we would catch or we would question. If it's, again, if it's an obvious thing that, hey, somebody's gonna do this instead of that, then we could include something in there, but no, they're not gonna, I've never had anybody actually offer.
So if they close down a road, like coming into the city, right? It's our road up to the city limits, and then they ask you for a permit to close it at city limits?
They're supposed to.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, right? Because you said, hey, communication, right?
Yes.
So,
Any road closure, anything they put in a public road, anything that's constructed inside the public road right away needs a permit. So if they're gonna put signs.
Even in a
detour
city?
signs, if it's our road inside the city limits, yes,
okay,
because it's our jurisdiction, so.
okay. I'm just asking, right? You know, because
Yep.
I got plenty of calls about why isn't, you know, Smithville Road been, you know, dust control done, and why hasn't it been not the city's portion,
Yeah,
the other portion?
right.
And about how much dust is going over Barnes Road and the cars flying down Barnes Road and concerns about all that stuff. So they just, you know, I told them, you know, it costs money, right? And money wasn't put towards that, so.
Yeah, and yeah, Durfee's one that I got a call on, just so, I mean, your area may have heard of that too. And unfortunately, and I'm not sure what they did, I didn't, that's why I asked them, I just told them, hey, you're having an issue with traffic down there. I'm not sure if they did anything, but legally, you can't just close the road because people are using it as a cut through. It's a public road, open to
Yeah,
public travel, so.
I got you.
You can't just put up road closure signs because people are using it, unfortunately, so.
Thank you. Oh, yes, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make a comment. You've done a lot of re-graveling, about 87 miles, so, and you've done some out my way. I just want to thank you for the job you're doing, because you could go out there and just lay gravel, but you've widened the roads, you've cut back a lot of the brush and trees and stuff that were growing in, replaced a lot of culverts, so I know the residents are thankful for that. My equipment thanks you.
That's actually not a bad segue. I didn't even write this down, but we did restart the brush spray program that was ended probably in the early 2000s. And we're starting in the northwest quadrant. We're gonna do every mile, and in the future on the locals, we'll have to see if the millage passes, then we'll probably include that as part of the millage costs on the locals. If not, then we'll probably be looking for some township match on that. But first year, we're just gonna do all of them because they all need it very, very badly. We've had a couple of calls on it, but a lot of people are giving our guys thumbs up and stuff, so a lot of people are appreciative, and I think they see the positives of it, so we'll just so you guys know as you hear those complaints.
Commissioner.
Thank you. Matt, so if people don't want spray, I know there's some people in my district that don't want spray, you know, on their portion of the road right away because of organic farming and things like that that they do. How do they apply for that?
If it's an official organic farm that's registered to the state, then they skip that section. If it's not an official organic farm, then it's probably getting sprayed unless they've gone ahead of us and cut everything back. We need to maintain the roads, keep the brush back. So if they do that and there's nothing to spray, then it won't get sprayed.
Okay.
But if they don't, then
Okay.
it's gonna have to get taken care of.
Good information. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, if this is one we can make a comment to you, I haven't made a phone call, and it's not that I'm not noticing 100% to tell you, but the boulevards there on Kreitz Road and also St. Joe, I think after all these years, we got them trained.
Really?
They're not driving me nuts and looking like they're unmanaged property.
I haven't heard anything in a while.
No, because I've been real quiet, so thank you.
Yeah, so somebody listened to what I explained to them anyway, so that's good.
Yeah, good job.
Okay, you can move on, Matt.
All right, so now, I'll just kind of go over where the millage proposal's at. We're gonna start, obviously, put more information out now that the other elections are done. We've started gathering some information. There's some things in the packet here. If you go just past the project list, I think.
Can you make that a little bigger?
Go to the a couple up above that, the 2026 local road surface and culvert condition. One more right there. Okay. So that's the asset map. Essentially, that's what we're looking at. Those are the local roads. That's the current conditions. Good, fair, poor, very poor, and as well as the culverts. The next thing that's in the pack there, I believe, is a culvert asset report. That's just for your information, but that's how we determined which culverts need to be fixed, which ones are good, which ones are bad. We went out, located them, and then we hired a consultant that did the same thing in Clinton County. And we liked it so much, we hired him to do it in our county, where they went out, they looked at them, came up with the assessment, decided the condition, good, fair, poor, or serious. And then came up with the estimates to replace the serious culverts. So now we know where they're at, we know the locations of them, we know what needs to be done, and we can put some dollars to them and kind of compare that with a millage program. So the intent would be to keep the roads maintained, replace culverts that need to be replaced, so we don't have 4 culverts closed at the same time because we got a bunch of rain. Because these other culverts that are in severe condition, next big rain could wash those ones out, who knows? So, and the only thing not on there, I realized, and I apologize, but the local road bridges, there's probably 15 local road bridges that are posted that at some point really should be replaced, or have maintenance done or something to remove that posting. So, that would be the intent as part of the millage, as well as to have the funding to pay for the match, for the federal funding to replace bridges. Because otherwise I'm asking townships and they gotta pony up $100,000 or more to match our funding. And many of the townships don't have that, so. So that's those 2 items. If you go down, there's some pictures down there, right there. So I'm struggling how to explain, I can say all I want that, and I think you all understand that you need to maintain the roads, keep them in good shape. You got a nice road, you pave it, you ignore it, and it's gonna fall apart. And I can tell that to the public, but it's hard for them to understand. So I tried coming up kind of like a photo here. There's 2 different sheets of them. The top photo is a photo of a road that was paved in 2015 that's had nothing done to it. Paved it, and then we went away. The second one down was paved a couple years ago, and the second one down was paved the year after that. Just to show that, look at what the preventative maintenance is gonna do. If we can do this program, if we can continue it, your roads are gonna stay in that better condition. Do this every 5 years. And so I don't know if this is a good representation of that, but again, I'm kind of struggling to show people, because I can say whatever I say, but I'm just Matt, so. And I think the 2017 one even looks better because we crack sealed that one recently because you can see all of the cracks in the road we've done nothing on. When you look at the other two, and the bottom one, we just chip sealed this year and it looks brand new, so. So the plan for the 10-year millage is to do 2 applications of surface preventative maintenance surface treatments on every local road over that 10 years. That's what we're doing on our primaries. Every 5 years, I'm chip sealing them, and every 5 years, I intend to do the same thing. Not a chip seal, but some other treatment in the urban area where there's curb and gutter. Where there's curb and gutter, you have catch basins. You don't want to have the stone and getting in the gutters and getting it up in the catch basin, so we got to find some other treatment. That would be the intent, and then apply 1 layer of gravel over 10 years. That's probably a good rotation if you can do it to keep the gravel surface in good shape. I mean, I've noticed driving it myself now that we've been able to put gravel on these roads, even when it's muddy. I mean, hopefully people's memories aren't short, but they're still way better than they were 10, 15 years ago before we were able to do this program. So it also have the 2 applications of dust control, and then drainage improvements, like I said, the culverts, bridge replacements. This would be for bad culverts, things like that, or like localized flooding. And there's some areas in Delta Township specifically, and there's other areas, but there's a couple that I know of for sure that I've heard of since I've been here essentially. It would be able to repair those. It's not a replacement for a county drain system or county drain repairs or county drain assessment or a petition or anything like that. But if you have an area that can't get to the county drain and it's not a county drain, it can improve those. I have talked to the drain office. They'd be in favor of, if we did that, replace it, then they would adopt that section as an extension of a county drain. So then there would be a mechanism to continue the maintenance on it, so. There's 3 events that we're planning to attend. There's one actually right across from our office at Spartan Motors. I don't know if it's still Spartan anywhere, but they have an employee picnic and they're doing a touch a truck. They asked if hey, you guys want to bring a truck over? We're like, yeah. Hey, can we set up a table too and talk to people about the millage? So that's gonna be the first one. That's actually tomorrow. We got a booth for Frontier Days, and we're planning to go to the trick or treat at the Lansing Mall. So to kind of hit different areas hopefully and talk to some different people. And then the only other thing, for those that know about the change in the transportation funding, the neighborhood roads fund. So it's coming from the marijuana tax and from the commercial, whatever it's called, tax. I don't know how much that's gonna be, and I don't know when we're gonna get it. So that's the best answer I got. I actually just asked County Road Association again today, and they pretty much said, yeah, we don't have any better information than we had back in March, which wasn't very good. Last I heard was maybe in February we're gonna get it, but we don't know if we're gonna get a big lump sum or if they're gonna spread it out. We don't know what's happening, so. If that happens, it's not gonna be enough to offset the millage, but it may be enough to potentially reduce the necessary revenue, but that's something we can address when we find out what we're getting, how much we're getting, and actually put it in the budget. We won't even have it in our budget this year because we don't know what it's gonna be, so. I just wanted to address that because that's, some of you I'm sure have heard about that. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Toomey.
Thank you. Excited that you're going to be getting the word out on, this upcoming ballot proposal starting tomorrow. I will say Q1 revenue from the marijuana funding that the state is collecting actually did come in significantly below what was projected, which is not great, but, speaks to the need for this. I was reading that in the news. As well, I just wanted to mention as well, I really like that you included these, visuals here in the packet, and when you start to prepare those educational or informational materials for the public, like I think a show and tell approach would be great, right? Obviously listing all the work that this funding would enable, but also showing some visual examples in there would be great. And I know that's a lot to condense into one easily digestible, educational, and informative piece for people, but I think you're doing a good job and excited to see, what has come up with there, and I'm not sure if comms will be involved with that as well, so,
Yeah, they've been helpful so far.
great, thank you.
Matt, are you planning to even go to the Delta Township Board and talk about what you have on this map that you're proposing for Delta? The reason I say that is because we know how much went to Out County before from the millage collected. So maybe with some more insight, you can spread the word faster. I don't know if you've checked, but in my head, sitting here, it's about 7 weeks until the AVs start going out for people to vote.
I can say, he and I happened to be at a meeting one night. So he did do one presentation to them, and I believe you've also gone to other communities. So during our road tour, I saw Matt on the road, ironically, right? But, so I think that's part of his education plan too, is trying to do some revisits over the next couple months. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd like to get to every township. I'm not saying I will be able to do that because some may have the same meetings and it's a less condensed schedule. My intent was to go back to Delta at some point. I do have a map that I started. I didn't include it because it's not ready and I don't want to get something out there's not quite ready, even there's a big draft across the middle of it. But it's the plan, the 5-year plan. So here's the roads we do a surface treatment on in the next 5 years, and then here's the next 5 years. I didn't get to the subdivisions yet, so that's part of the reason it's not ready to put out. But that would be the intent, to have the map. Hey, here would be the plan. Do these roads this year, and then next year do those ones and whatever, and then repeat that essentially every 5 years to help hopefully keep those roads in good shape.
As soon as the absentee ballots come out, people start stopping in my driveway.
Well, yeah, we're gonna start, my communications person at the office actually came in and showed me something that she's preparing just to check, make sure it's okay for the touch truck tomorrow. So we're gonna have some things. We have a link on our website, but there's not much there yet. We've been working on trying to update the website. Might have to wait till after this to actually update the website so we can get as much information there as we can, but we're working on it. We're not pros. I'm an engineer and not a communication specialist, if you haven't noticed.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner. Appreciate it. And I thank you for the work you're doing. And I live on a gravel road. I have my whole life, and we do see an improvement. So thank you. Back months ago, we saw some charts. These pictures are really good, I think, to share with people. But you'd provided some charts and some graphics that showed, I think it was only over a 6-year period, because that's what we were talking about at that point. But this is what the millage will allow the roads to stay at. I think there was 4 categories, if I remember correctly. It was very advantageous, I think, to be able to share that with the communities that I represent. I think it's advantageous for every community. It would be helpful to me if we could have those over that 10-year period, as well as what happens to the roads, like projection-wise. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but these roads are, materials that are going to deteriorate quite rapidly. If we could have a projection of what happens if there's not an investment in this way into the local roads, I think that people will really be able to see the value in that. The second thing that I wanted to say was, doing a deep dive myself on the numbers for every township and municipality. I think the taxpayers, the voters, every single one of them wins out on this millage. There are some places like Delta Township where the businesses are paying in a larger portion, so it almost makes it look like the township's upside down in that. They're not. They're not at all. And from talking to business owners, even some of them that I know in Delta Township, from relationships that I have, they're happy to pay that. It's in essence, I think I said this months ago, but when it comes to business, all roads lead to Delta Township for a lot of the services that my family gets living in the rural area. So the residents, the homeowners aren't bearing an unfair burden of that in the more urban areas. It's the businesses that are helping share that, but we're also helping those businesses stay in business. So I think it's fair for people to know that across the county that on the deep dive that I did, and somebody else can speak to this if they're smarter than I am, but I believe that that every single township of residents is actually gaining a benefit from this millage, and they're the ones voting, and so they should know that. I don't want the statistics to be unfairly skewed in a way where people feel like they're bearing a burden that they're not. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Did you have something?
Yeah, really quick. Man, I was I can't remember if it was Berry County or Ionia County a couple weekends ago, and they actually had a sign up next to the road that said this road was reconstructed or paved or something of that nature by the county road millage. I know you've done a lot of work on a lot of roads, but just something to think about in the future is somehow identifying on the road, so when people are driving on it, they know that that was paid for by the millage that they participate in.
Yeah, I heard that same thing. I think it was in Berry County for some reason. That's why I'm thinking of that. So I'm not,
It may have been Berry County I was in, I'm just not sure.
yeah. Yeah, so definitely something to look at, and it's in the back of my head to look into it anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Is any further discussion or anything? All right, seeing none. Thank you for your time, Matt.
Yeah, you all have my number and email, so
I use it sometimes.
I know you do. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Claudine, are you speaking on this?
It is quick. Our board rules say that every August, we shall give all of the committees a list of the committee appointments and what appointments are expiring, so it's just informational purposes for you to have. And as we continue through the end of the year, we'll bring those to you with request for advertising them in the paper or for appointments that would like to be renewed and such.
I do have one question. Is there, up here, the Department Human Service Board, right? I mean, theirs are in what's that, October, and everybody else is at the, basically the beginning of the year.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's their appointment timeframe, not ours, so we don't
Yeah.
have a choice.
They do it sort of like on their budget cycle?
I can ask them, I'm not sure why theirs is different.
I just noticed that, so I was
Yeah.
just curious.
There are a few of them like that, unfortunately.
So,
Hard to track.
one other question. When are you gonna post?
So this is just to let you know what ones are expiring. So next month, we would probably come back and ask, we'll probably send this list out to the township or out to the, I've already sent construction code theirs for the Board of Appeals to let those people know to see if they're interested in staying on. And so probably next month.
But like these ones in December, you typically send, we post them like in October, so that way the board can, evaluate and select in November, and then they can see.
Yeah, so hopefully
Right in
next,
that timeframe.
yeah, hopefully next month I would be able to tell you who was seeking reappointment and who wasn't, and then you can decide what ones you want advertised, and then we can move forward with that next month, yep.
Okay. All right, thank you. Oh, excuse me. Yes, Commissioner.
That's just a quick question. For people that are looking to get involved maybe in these areas, is there, I hesitate to use the word, but like a job description for these so they would know what they were committing to when the committees meet, how often they meet?
There's a citizen application form online, and I believe, Logan, if I'm not mistaken, a description of all of the committees are with it.
Excellent. So that will suffice. Thank you.
You don't have nothing to add, do you? All right, that's good. Well, we've already drove one away, so we're almost there. Only got 6 more. All right, so with that being done, we're moving on to soil erosion. We have 2 gentlemen still in the room that have been waiting very patiently.
Appreciate you
Yeah,
guys.
so let's get on to item B, soil erosion update.
I'd imagine you both would probably want to come up just in case over discussion, but we have talked about this at length. Initially, it started out by a fee increase proposal from the drain office, at which point led to a discussion about methodology. We were doing a fee study for construction code. The discussion at the time was evaluating whether or not to move that inspection operation for soil erosion under construction code or to have the same vendor evaluate the fee proposals that were put together. So we went ahead and ran two separate, one for this construction code, which is Atways, and then for the soil erosion, we presented that report last month so that you all would have time to study it. So really the decisions before you, unless anybody's got other ones that they want to throw out there, would be to either, one, approve the increased fee proposal originally proposed by the Drain Commissioner's Office back in March or April, whatever month that was, to do nothing and leave the current fee schedule in place and try to do additional reporting over the next 2 years or 12 months, however that looks, so we get better data, which was the recommendation of our consultant, so we could evaluate what our true costs are to run soil erosion. And then the third option is still do the data collection and changes of how we account for expenses for the program, but to move it under construction code. If anybody else has a different thing, but those were kind of the broad discussions we've had on the topic.
Yep, I would agree. I would agree. Is there any discussion from the board members? Commissioner DeRosa?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ben. I'm inclined to go with item, I think you said C, move it into construction code. I think we'd be better served as a county to put it in construction code because, I mean, obviously we have to have information on soil erosion for every project that's in the county, not just drains. So I think it would make sense to put it back in or into construction code.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, was that a motion?
I'll make that a motion then.
Okay, I got a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All right, Marcus, I mean, you moved up. I mean, I'm sort of breaking protocol here, but you moved up like you wanted to defend your position. Go ahead.
I mean, I just want to say, I think it needs to be looked at in the fact that the main point of soil erosion is to protect the drains and the waters of the state. And the drain office already does that. So why would you move construction code to take care of the drains when we have a department that does that? That'd be like asking Chris to run the treasurer's office. It doesn't make any sense. So just want to throw that out there and add that to the thought process behind this.
Oh, that was a question.
It was a question and
I
comment,
mean,
yeah.
that was awkward
Little bit of
silence
both.
there, so I didn't know what it was. I would ask, I would propose a amendment to your motion to, for 1 year to evaluate. You know, like, your motion is to move it to, construction codes in which to be able, I don't want to put words in your mouth, you know, like to be able to gain better data, right? So we can ensure that we are, one, charging the proper fees, and two, that the program is being run. But I would like to, I propose an amendment to your motion to have a reeval of this whole thing.
Well, to your point, the soil erosion's been under the purview of the Drain Commission for quite a while. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I think we've done our study. So other than the fee schedule, I would propose to go ahead and move it into construction code and monitor that for the next 12 months and see if it works out better.
Okay. All right, I mean, thank you for clarifying your motion. And I have,
I wouldn't include that as an end date, but I would say during this first 12-month period, take a look at, evaluate it as we move along and see if it functions as well or better. If it gets worse, obviously, we need to reassess our decision, but I don't think that's going to happen.
okay, and that falls in your motion, it's just better explain it, and the other commissioner seconded it. Is there any further discussion on this? Oh, yes, Commissioner.
I
Sorry.
just trying to understand why we're moving it. I really don't understand what's going on at the drain office that we need to move it. You know,
Oh, you want to speak
wanna
from,
answer me?
you want me to speak on
I
my
just-
portion?
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I mean,
Give me,
reading through this report, I found, like the consultant, that over the past years, the number of permits have skyrocketed. However, the fees and fines have decreased, right? And I'm not saying everybody gets a fine, you know, but
right,
when we've asked for reports previously, we got told that it's more of education now, right? You know, I shouldn't say more of education now. I'm just saying they educate instead of fining now, right?
okay.
And then from the consultant's point of view is that the data that we were able to provide them was not even enough for them to determine if the fees that we currently charge are adequate. So they can't comment on if raising the fees would be
Right,
also
'cause
added.
I know that we've had several different attempts to come up with a fee change,
Yes.
but we haven't had enough. So we're gonna try it by sending it over to,
Well, I mean, if I
Chris
could
is-
elaborate a little bit more, how I see it is by moving it into the construction codes, it is a department that falls under the controller, which we have direct oversight on, and then we can dictate better of the data collection that we would want to ensure that we get data collection so we can go back and see if the fees are adequate. Whereas
that makes more sense to me.
Whereas the drain commissioner is an elected official, and we can only suggest
Best, right,
what they do, and, you know, we don't
Right.
have direct oversight and this.
so you're expecting some type of better data collection in this?
From my point of view.
Okay.
From my point
okay.
of view.
Thank you.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Marcus, does your department have any reason to go out to these sites that they're inspecting, other than the fact that they're doing a soil erosion inspection?
I guess I'm not following what you're necessarily asking.
If somebody's building a house in Commissioner Mott's district in Walton Township, is there another reason for your department to engage that property?
So if they don't meet the requirements of getting a soil erosion permit, then there's no reason for us to go out there. But I think there's a lot of caveats here that are misunderstood. I think when we first started this conversation, it was kind of thought that, well, Chris's department's going to these sites anyway, so it makes more sense. But I think the misunderstanding is Chris doesn't go there every month. I mean, I don't want to speak for you.
Most of them, we go more than.
Completely, but he doesn't necessarily go to each site once a month or on the cycle that some of these permits are calling for, like the Grand Ledge Sewer Plant is an every other week inspection. And I don't think they're going out to the sewer plant every other week. So to say that they're going there anyway, I don't think that's a fair point to make.
That's not what I said. I asked you a question. Thank you for answering it. My statement that I was going to make is I think that the construction code department, I'm in agreement with the other things that you had mentioned, but I do think that you'll find that there's going to be an economy of scale with providing these services to the taxpayers. That's going to be reflected and possibly not a rate reduction, but maybe not a rate increase like that was proposed. Whether or not the specific inspectors are going to that specific address, they do frequent these areas of the county often, and so it's going to provide more equitable service, I think, for these areas in the county. If I had a vote, it would have my support. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All right, seeing none. The motion on the floor, I'm restating the motion. The motion on the floor is to move soil erosion to construction codes and reevaluate it after 12 months?
At least monitor it for 12
Or did you say moderate, or?
monitor it.
Monitor
during that
it,
first
excuse me.
12-month period to make sure that it's working out
I
the
had
way.
evaluate written as well, so I'll
Yeah.
change it to monitor.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Well, I'm sorry about that, Marcus, but Chris?
In your vote, now I have questions.
Yep.
When is this gonna take place? Is the drain office going to close out the soil erosion permits that they have open under their office?
I think that'd be the cleanest way to make a transition. So are you asking to potentially amend it, or we amend it when we get to ways and then at the full board?
I guess I'm just asking
Yeah. So typically,
for a guideline.
there's a handoff, so then that way there's no question who's.
Part of my reasoning is that is through this meeting this morning, I received an email from the BSNA in the cloud, and it looks like my office is gonna be able to transfer over to the cloud in the fourth quarter of this year. So that, if soil erosion is gonna be under my office now, I need to implement that in with that change.
Yes,
Yeah.
Commissioner.
We
Go
can meet
ahead.
with you guys on, and come up with that by Friday too, so we can present that at Ways as well.
Okay.
Transition.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
going to
Commissioner.
suggest that Drain Commission and the Construction Code get together and come up with some kind of schedule, time frame that works for both of you, that's convenient, and make that transition easy. And I don't know, do we need it by Friday?
If we have it by Friday, we'll bring it, or Wednesday, but
So
we'll try to
if
have
you have it by
together
Friday,
in
great.
time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next Wednesday, yeah, or
No,
the
I
full
said
board,
If not, it would go to next month, right?
yeah. Okay.
Okay, you don't have nothing else to say? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to the last public comment. There's nobody in the room, so I don't see any public comment. And then flipping the page to item 14, that's adjournment. So, at this time, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.